Welcome back. This is Metropole Business Center, the home of news and views from the world of business and economics. My name is Stephen Kimani. And on this part of the show, we'll turn our attention to matters cryptocurrency. And you probably saw in the news 2 days ago, Bitcoin climbed to a record high, rallying as much as 8.7% to $19,857.03, pushing this year's surge to more than 170%. I mean, that's quite a rise. Bitcoin surged on Monday to set its first fresh record in nearly 3 years, driven by a wave of new investors lured by the potential for big profits. The digital currency has nearly tripled in 2020 and is up more than 90% since early September. So what's really driving this trend? Joining me to discuss this further is John Bhatia, Head of Data, Metropole TV. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Very well.
Yeah.
Let's look into what's behind this new record high for Bitcoin. What's driving the price surge on Bitcoin?
Globally, we are having a lot of nations printing a lot of fiat, and this is causing an inflationary pressure on the currencies that we have across the world. So by the end of the day, we are losing a lot of value. The domestic cash that we are used to is losing value by the day. And a lot of people in the world don't want to lose money in terms of value. So what they are doing, they are pushing their resources to Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin is not determined by inflation. The price of Bitcoin is determined by the pressure of demand and supply. So by the end of the day, it's safer to place your cash in Bitcoin than letting it be on the traditional cash.
But one will say when things are looking uncertain,
Yes.
the first place that people place their money is gold. Why Bitcoin and no gold?
Bitcoin with time has become more acceptable around the world, and with time people are even accepting it as a medium of exchange, whereby you can go to a shop somewhere and be able to buy goods and services using the Bitcoin. So with time it's becoming more acceptable, and you can see by the trends that Bitcoin is actually doing good with time. So it's actually doing better than gold. So by the end of the day, it becomes actually a safer option and even more realistic to go the Bitcoin way and leave the gold and the domestic cash. Yeah.
But as I mentioned in the earlier story around Libra, which is now rebranding to Diem,
Yes.
there's still a lot of regulatory, should I say, restraints around cryptocurrency.
Yes.
I mean, our own central bank governor has expressed his own reservations towards it.
Yes.
Why is that the case? Is it that is it that digital currency has not been understood? Is there something that probably we need to be cautious about as an investing public?
Bitcoin has had its own fair of challenges, and one of them is it has been related actually to terrorist activities, because one of the things that it promotes is anonymity, whereby I can be able to send you Bitcoins without being known, and there's no even limit of how much I can be able to send to you. So by the end of the day, the government is not involved. It's not like the normal cash. If I want to transfer cash to you in a normal transaction, I have to involve a bank, and a bank is regulated by central bank. But when it comes to Bitcoins, there is no regulation. It's peer-to-peer transfer. So I don't need somebody to come in between me and you to send you cash. That's a very big red flag for the government, because it's not able to regulate how cash is able to transfer both locally and international ways. So it becomes a big red flag for them, because they don't have any control of who's sending cash, who's receiving cash. At the same time, they cannot even be able to get a charge out of it. So for them, it's something which is out of their hands, and it's something which is international. And that's why you see a lot of central banks around the world are not comfortable with Bitcoin, because it beats all the mechanisms that they have kept in place to control the movement of cash around the world globally.
Okay.
Yes.
Which again now probably takes us to the basics around cryptocurrency.
Yes.
How are cryptocurrencies developed? How does one invest in cryptocurrency? For example, the case of Bitcoin. Probably could just take us through the basics around cryptocurrency.
Okay, cryptocurrency on its own is a digital or a virtual means of exchange. is like the normal cash. But the difference with it from the normal cash is that, number one, there is no that tangible cash. You can't be able to touch Bitcoin. It's something which is virtual. And with Bitcoin, something else is that I can be able to transfer virtually cash and be able actually to verify. There's a process which is called blockchain, whereby for me to send you cash, it has to go through the various verification, and it's recorded in blockchain where it can not be able to be deleted or anything. So with Bitcoin, it is something which is revolutionary and which is something which is taking all over the world. And with Kenya, we have several, across Africa. For example, in Kenya, you have BitPesa. We also have currency, we have crypto
sorry,
change.
Is BitPesa related in any way to Bitcoin, or it's totally different?
You can be able to buy Bitcoin from them.
Okay.
Because cryptocurrencies are quite many. We have over 3,600 cryptocurrencies, and the major cryptocurrencies are the Bitcoin, we have Ethereum, we have the Zcash. All of those are forms of cryptocurrency which you can be able to buy from these people. However, you, as you want now to buy, you don't need to visit the office. What you need to do is to enter online. You have to register, put your passports, your identifications, and be able to transfer cash, be it from bank, and be able to buy your Bitcoins. Once you have bought your Bitcoins, they are kept in the Bitcoin wallet. Bitcoin wallet now is whereby all your Bitcoins are held. Now from the Bitcoin wallet, you can be able to send or send more Bitcoin to somebody, or even buy more Bitcoins to hold. Now, from your Bitcoin wallet, it of course will change with time because the value of Bitcoin changes daily. So that means if I have, for example, 1 Bitcoin, if the prices of Bitcoin increases, the value of my Bitcoins goes up, and the reverse is true. So it is something which is well acceptable across the world, and it is something which is actually going to revolutionize the whole world, even with these challenges going on. Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of revolutionizing the world, is there any economy that probably has decided to mainstream it and make cryptocurrency part and parcel of, I mean, make it a medium of exchange and become part of the economy?
Yes. Generally, the big nations around the world have already accepted it. With us as Kenya, of course, we are taking the baby steps in accepting it. And with Bitcoin, actually, cryptocurrency in general, we are seeing it being used in various ways. For example, as I mentioned, even more merchants are accepting Bitcoin as a medium of exchange. So that means I can be able to go even with a point of a Bitcoin based on the value and buy the various goods and services that we have. It is something we project actually by 2030, 25% of globally they would have already adopted Bitcoin as a medium of exchange. So this is not something that is stopping now, and it's true that we have seen changes over time, and actually one of the trends that we expect with time, there will be more price fluctuations. So it is something that is here to stay, even if we have all these challenges going on, and more and more nations we expect to adopt Bitcoin. Yeah.
Good. There's something I hear about mining of cryptocurrency. What does that mean? Probably could you just break that down for somebody who has come across that term?
Generally, Bitcoins, like for example, there's a maximum number of Bitcoins that we should have, which is a set limit. Bitcoin, we have 21 million Bitcoins. We cannot surpass 21 Bitcoins. Ethereum, we have 100 million. We cannot surpass the 100 million Ethereum Bitcoins, Ethereum coins. So what happens is that for you to register Bitcoin, there's a process which is followed. There are people who mine Bitcoins, and there are set standards of mining a Bitcoin. And those standards, of course, they are stipulated on how mining goes on. And what happens is that there's a value that is created out of that 1 Bitcoin. It's something a little bit technical, and once a Bitcoin has been made or has been developed, that is now pushed to the market, and the trading continues as normal. What happens also, we have people who verify the Bitcoins. What happens is that once you have instituted a transaction, for example, if I'm sending a Bitcoin to you, what happens is that there's a factor of authentication that is checked. And before the transaction is completed, there are verifiers who go through if that transaction is legit. Those people are at the same time now, there are several who does that. Once that's been authenticated, it's okay. Then now the Bitcoins are able to go through to you. So we have various players in the Bitcoin process, from the miners to people even who verifies to ensure that the transaction is legit and it is not fraudulent. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I mean, you've mentioned that there are about 3,000, you've said, cryptocurrencies. So what is it that makes Bitcoin really like stand out in terms of its value, in terms of its, you know, huge gains over time? What's a key distinction between Bitcoin and Ethereum and the other cryptocurrencies that are in the market?
Okay, all the Bitcoins operate under blockchain, whereby with blockchain, a transaction, it's like a container, whereby each and every transaction is recorded in blocks that are put in that container, and then they are linked up together and they cannot be deleted. Now, the difference that happens with Bitcoin and, for example, Ethereum, is that Bitcoin, it's universal, whereby you can be able to transact with Bitcoin regardless of who you are. But Ethereum is more limited to the Ethereum market, whereby they push more of Ethereum is more used in the Ethereum environment, whereby those people who use Ethereum are the ones who fall into the bracket of that environment of Ethereum. There's a specific, you cannot be able to send to everyone, and with Bitcoin, it's more diverse. You can be able to send even somebody who does not operate in specific environment which is given. Bitcoin is more manual, whereby for me to send you, I can be, it's a must where I start to initiate the process of sending. I verify, it goes to the digital verifiers for transaction to go through, which can take even 10 minutes or more. But Ethereum is quite fast. You can do it, can be automated, whereby it can take even 10 seconds to transfer cash based on specific requirements you have kept in the system. So Bitcoin has stand out because of the diversity, and it's not limited to any form of environment operating. Yeah.
Finally, as we end this interview, what do you see as the outlook for Bitcoin, and is this where probably somebody who's planning an investment next year should be thinking about?
Okay, in general, across the globe, there are two groups which are highly divided. There are people who are for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. There are people who see Bitcoin as something negative, seeing it as a pyramid scheme. But by the end of the day, the future outlook we see is that we are going to see a lot of regulatory pressure, because a lot of central bank will want to have to control this movement of cash across the globe. At the same time, we also expect to see more and more merchants accepting Bitcoin as a medium of exchange for both goods and services. At the same time, we are seeing that the price will continue to fluctuate. This is not the $19,000 mark is not final. We are likely to see either going up or down. There'll be more fluctuation because it is pushed by the law of demand and supply of Bitcoins. And furthermore, we are likely to see more people invest in Bitcoin. As I mentioned, we see by 2030, we are likely to see around 25% globally people using Bitcoin as a medium of exchange and generally accepted. So for people who have cash, it is a good way of storing value or storing cash. And the beauty about it is that when the price goes up, you can always dispose it at a profit, or when the value is more than what you purchased for. At the same time, I also admit is that when the price goes down, yes, your value will go down and you're likely to make losses. However, for now, it is more stable than what you have seen the major currencies performing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, John, for your insights.
Thank you for having me.
Very well. I've been speaking with John Mbatia, the head of data at Metropole TV, who's been assisting me in terms of analyzing the Bitcoin, which has lately been on a rally, rising to as much as $19,000. That's about 2.1 million Kenyan shillings. So probably want to look into it as an investment option. That I leave that as your decision. So we'll take a short commercial break at this point. After this break, I'll be joined by my colleague Ian Obila, who will be taking us through today's gadget review segment. That's after this break.